Will God forgive a backslider? That's someone who was a believer, who lived in truth and then wandered from the path. Someone who began to reject the truth either in their speech or in the way that they lived their actions. Will God forgive that person? In my favorite book, James, we see all about how right faith and right belief leads to right living. And the conclusion of that book, James says this in chapter 5, verse 19, "My brothers, if any among you wanders from the truth and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins." There is forgiveness for the one who has rejected the truth, who has gone astray, when someone comes and brings them back. The reason we live in community as the church is so that we hold each other accountable. We keep one another on the path. So that if I go astray, I have people around me who I know are going to chase after me, and they are going to point me back on the path. They're going to do everything in their power to lead me back to truth. And this says that whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sins. We have a responsibility to our brothers and sisters to go and lead people back to truth. And in our actions of loving one another, there is a cover for those sins. There is forgiveness. There is renewed relationship with Christ. And that's not because we do the saving. That's because we let Christ work through us, living through us, and displaying his forgiveness through us. When we go after our brothers and sisters who have gone astray, there's forgiveness because of what Christ did on the cross, and that's the truth we point one another back to. We have no special powers. We're not doing any magical saving. We're pointing back to the one who has made all things new. We're pointing back to the one who died for us while we were still sinners. We are pointing one another back to the truth they've wandered from. And that love displayed, it covers a multitude of sins. This isn't an easy topic to talk about. When we see one of our brothers or sisters going astray, they're headed on a path towards death. And not just a temporary physical death. They're headed towards an eternal death. And none of us would want that for a loved one. None of us would wish that upon someone whom we care deeply about. So we have a responsibility to go and point them back to truth. And in pointing them back to truth, we save their soul from death. And that love covers over all of the sins. There is forgiveness. When we've gone astray and someone brings us back, or when others go astray and we bring them back. And it's all because of what Christ has done on the cross. It's all because he forgave us while we were still sinners. We were not perfect or worthy when he saved us. We were sinners. And along the path, as we're headed home, as we're headed towards heaven, sometimes we will go astray. We'll wander. We will get lost. But we live in community with one another so that when we get lost, others will bring us back. They'll point us back home towards heaven. They will save our souls from death and cover those sins with love extended and the grace extended, all through what Christ has already done. Will God forgive a backslider? Yes. He already has. The work was accomplished once and for all. That leaves me with one question for you. When you think about those around you, your family, your friends, your brothers and sisters in Christ, are there any who you see who have maybe gone astray? Are there any you see who've maybe wandered from the truth? The question is, how can you lead them back to truth? How can you lead them back to Christ? If you have questions about how to do that, please ask us. No two situations are perfectly alike. There is no perfect answer for every situation. Let us know in the comments or send us an email or reach out. We would love to have that conversation with you and encourage you as you seek to help the one who is lost to save their soul from death and cover that multitude of sins by pointing them back to Christ.